Welcome to Moto State Podcast, where we talk about motorcycles, life, and everything in between.
Okay.
She's been
That's
doing
helpful.
all the social media stuff, and she was over here editing a video that's going to be coming out soon for like the introduction to the shop and then the chopper build that's going on and everything like that. And she's over there going off like, I can't get this to sync up. I'm like, don't ask me. I have no idea how to do any of that. That's why I have you here. And that's why you're 22 years younger than me. So, it's been a learning aspect for me while she's standing there watching me tear apart a motor going, I don't even know what half that stuff is. I go, good, don't touch any of it because I don't want you to lose any of it. But no, it's, I think having her on board's been a pretty cool thing to see. Just, she's talented, so she knows how to do all the photography and everything, and I'm just like blown away by all the stuff she's been helping me out with. So it's been pretty cool so far.
Does she do like marketing, advertising for a living?
No, she works for a school district for like special ed kids, and she just picked up all this stuff on her own. So yeah,
Sure.
Yeah, she's like her hobby I'm like, well, just keep going because you're doing pretty good. And then, so I always encourage her to keep chasing her passion, don't get strung down. That'll be your release on what you can do, so.
Yeah. Well, and I think, that the generation just below us, we had to adapt to technology, right?
Mm-hmm.
They grew up with it. So, like when we went to school, and it was probably the same for you, I took a typing class.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
They
don't even have those
in case you set it on the table and you go to town,
Yeah. They don't even have those anymore because the kids all know it now. Rather than taking a typing class, they take coding classes.
Yeah. It's wild.
Hey, don't forget the best part about typing class was on Friday afternoons or Fridays, the last half of class, you got to play Oregon Trail and die of dysentery. That was the best part, man. That was
your ox ran away
every single time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh man, I'm out of ammo. I'm about to die. Shit. Yeah.
I don't think Oregon Trail officially ever had an ending. I think everyone that played it died.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the whole point of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because, out of the, however many people that actually use the Oregon Trail, like only 3 made it across the United States anyway. So, of the hundreds of thousands of kids to play that game, only 3 of them could beat it. So,
yeah, exactly.
And you felt like you were dead all the time anyway because the graphics were so terrible. So, like,
right?
am I actually alive or dead? I don't know what the fuck's going on. Whatever.
Am I laying down on the ground? Is that where I'm supposed to be? I don't know. Did the wheel hit me? I don't know.
Right.
Am I being drugged by the wagon? What the hell?
Right. I stopped playing video games when the Nintendo controller had a B and an A on it, and that was it. You know what I mean? Like now they have 47 buttons on them, and I'm like, I don't even know. But this kid told me one time, he was like, so what did you guys like do in high school when you didn't have video games? And I was like, I had sex in high school. That's what I was doing.
True. Ball game. It was, I don't know. It's,
yeah.
Ryan was playing with other buttons and controllers.
That's right. My A and B buttons were boobs, just so you know.
We're not going to get into select and start. That's a whole nother conversation. So whatever, it's fine.
Yeah. I could tell you the cheat code, but that's a real big secret.
Was your nickname Contra? Like what the hell? Man, go on. Anyway, I digress. Well, everybody, welcome to another episode of Nintendo's Are Us. Moto State Podcast. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Pretty excited today. We've got one of our own Patreon members, listener from the beginning, person who I call a friend, and a local guy here in St. Louis, Chris from City Morgue Cycles, is joining us. Thank you, sir, for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having me on.
And Ryan's probably gonna get on your nerves at some point, so just try to, just tough it out and bear through it. And
we hugged it out. Me and Ryan had dinner together up at Mama Tribe. We stared into each other's eyes. Jason got really.
That's right.
That's cute.
It was.
That's right.
Yeah.
Talked about cranking hog. I get
cranking
it.
hog.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
He sat directly across from me, so I could just reach across and put my hand on top of his.
Yeah, just
Yeah, I was not real comfortable with my positioning on that. I'm glad Kristen was sitting between us, so I'm very, very thankful for that. So
When I told my wife, I said we're gonna have Chris on from St. Louis and from City Morgue, and she was like, oh, he was at Mama Tried, right? He was sitting right across from you.
that's right.
that's correct. That is correct.
Well, how's so usually we record on a Monday. We're actually recording on a Friday. So how's everybody's week? How was y'all's week this week? Because I don't know about you, this week kicked my ass.
Agreed.
Busy. It was a lot going on. A lot. So
that's a good
trying
thing,
to
though.
jam a lot into this week to try to get a lot of stuff done and out because of people got events they're going to and everything. So it was a lot of rush jobs. Hey, can you get this done today? And hey, can I hang out? No, you can't.
No. That was actually me. I asked to hang out.
It wasn't,
said,
no,
fuck
it wasn't
off,
Luke.
Luke.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
I close the door and Luke shows up. He just peers through the window and just stares at me.
Yeah.
So
then he pulls the blinds down, and I'm like, "What the fuck, man? Come on, jeez." No.
Yeah. Did you have a lot of? Did you have to get a lot of work out for Sturgis this year?
A little bit. I had to deliver bad news to people before Sturgis. So I had one customer bring his bike in that the motor is done. So
oh wow,
yeah, that was fun. I will give him kudos. It's a Heritage, or it's a Fat Boy. I'm sorry, a 2002, and it has 140,000 miles as the original motor. I said,
oh wow, well,
you got
rode the shit out of it.
Out of this thing that you could get. So yeah, it was. The pinion shaft got so eccentric it started destroying the oil pump housing. Started cracking the aluminum. So yeah, I had to give him the bad news, but he rented a bike and went to Sturgis. And then a few people came in, just tires and, nothing super crazy. And then I'm still trying to get the gold chopper done. I'm trying to have that done before the end of the month. So I've been working on that too. So bouncing back and forth. So, it's fun. Gotta get that one done so that I could build him an FXR. That's the next thing. So
you can blame me for that. So yeah, that's the guy that bought my 86 FXR.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Same guy.
So that black and gold chopper you're working on, that thing's beautiful. It's
turning out
that thing.
Pretty awesome. So he's super pumped about it. I'm stoked. I'm stoked for the end product of it. It's going to be hopefully a head turner. Like I told him, he's like, "Oh, you think it'll do a wheelie?" I'm like, "Please don't tell me that. Please don't tell me. Don't. I don't. Well, you can do whatever you want. You own the bike, but I don't want to know that you're ripping wheelies on the chopper that I built. I'm sorry." So,
that's fine.
But yeah, it's beat my expectations on how it's turning out. So it'll be cool when it's done.
That's awesome.
So
yeah. Hey, I want to give a big shout out to Law Tigers Tennessee for their support and sponsorship of the podcast. We can't thank them enough. When the time comes, because it's going to probably happen to all of us, you get in a motorcycle wreck and you're injured, give Law Tigers a call at lawtigers.com, whatever state you're in. They're great folks at Tennessee. We've got to meet them. They're awesome. They know their stuff. They're riding. They understand the community. They understand what it's like from a rider's perspective. And more importantly, they understand the law. So give them a call. That first consultation's free. They're going to lay out how it works with you. They're not getting paid unless you get paid, guys. Call the experts in the field on this and when there's a time of need like that. LawTigers.com. Make sure you tell Luke and Ryan from Moto State sent you. Well, why don't you take a moment and share everyone kind of like your story, like your journey, how you got into motorcycles, moved in onto the mechanic side, the technician side, and then kind of how it's involved into your own shop now.
Yeah. How did I get into motorcycles? So nobody in my family rode that I knew when I was younger. Nobody.
Okay.
I didn't have then come to find out that my distant uncle that lives in Ohio had a panhead chopper when he was younger. And I never knew that till I got into motorcycles, but I was always into BMX when I was a kid. Like I destroyed myself when I was younger. Like I'm talking broken bones. I've been hit by 3 cars, survived all of them. That's why I'm here talking to you. And then as I got older, my first job I ever got was actually working at a bicycle shop, building bicycles.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, well, this is cool. I could do this. This is, I'm mechanically inclined. Always messed with stuff when I was younger. And then as I got through high school and stuff like that, I was actually signed up to go to YO Tech to be a diesel mechanic. I was going to be a heavy equipment mechanic.
Okay.
And then magically, I was sitting at home one night and Motorcycle Mania came on. And I was like, okay, and that's if you're not around that stuff all the time, you never knew that was part of an industry. I never knew that. I never knew there was so much. So I was like, So then I went down the rabbit hole. I was like, well, you can actually do that. Like I never seen anybody hand hammer a tank or anything like that. I always knew about Harleys, Yeah. Like, that was always my end goal when I got older. Was like, I want to own a Harley. That was and I remember Doc's Harley Davidson. Luke, Doc's that was over in Kirkwood. The old shop before it's the one it was now. It was a small white building, and my dad was a firefighter in Kirkwood, and we would go up and visit him while he was on shift. And I would always go by there and just look at it like, what's going on there? Like, you being a kid, you're like, what the hell's happening there? You see the guys standing outside of it is before it's, I'm like, man, that's just cool. And just the bikes they had there and stuff like that. And it piqued my interest. And then I bought a Honda Rebel and taught myself how to ride, which let me tell you, you thought I looked like a bear in a circus on that Sportster trike. A Honda Rebel 250, baby. Might have been a good baby. I'll tell you what. And
that's amazing.
Yeah, I taught myself how to ride, and then I found a 1974 Sportster. That was my first ever Harley I ever owned. Kick only. Shifter was on the right side because it was when they transitioned from the K model into the Sportsters for the race bikes. And I started working on it. I was tearing into it and everything like that. And then I was like, man, where can I get custom parts at? And just happened to find a local shop that was around here and would go in there and get parts like that and became friends with the owners. And there was a husband and wife team that actually owned it. And the guy that owned it, he came to me one day. He's like, man, you are in here a lot. Like, you're really, really, really into what you're doing, like with this stuff. I'm like, yeah, man. I go, this is very interesting to me. I'm getting in there. And he's like, okay. He goes, and he slid me a pamphlet over for AMI, which was it. There's MMI and then there was AMI, which became YO Daytona Beach. And he's like, if you go to school here, he goes, when you come back, you have a job here. He goes, but you have to go.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, okay. So I'm like, well, I guess I'm not going to YO Tech now. So I came home and talked to my mom. I'm like, I think I really want to do this, And she's like, well, we need to go down and see the school before you just sign up, like we need to see. So she took me down to Daytona. I was 20 years old. Went down there, drove down to Daytona, checked out the school. And the school was crazy because you would think of like a traditional school. It's like, big brick buildings and everything. Well, AMI was actually an old motel that was right off the Speedway. So it had a big courtyard, and it was like a U shape. So all the classes were in the old hotel rooms. So you would walk in the main gate, and you would go out, and there'd be like Honda Lab, BMW, Harley, this, that.
Okay.
And we had a gigantic pool in the middle of it. That when I was there, an alligator went into the pool. So we came up
shit!
We just see eyes. I'm like, yep, that's cool. I'm gonna go this way. So, but that was
crazy.
Toward the school and everything like that. And my mom's like probably my biggest supporter of me doing any of this stuff. She's like, you've always been kind of the rebel child. Both my brothers are firefighters, like my dad, and everything like that. And then there's plum old me that just does whatever I want. And she's like, if you really want to do this, she goes, we'll sign up, put a deposit down while we're down here, and then see when you can get in. Well, we put the deposit down. I had to wait like a year and a half before I could ever go to school. That's how bad.
Oh, wow.
Because that was, that was 2002. Yeah, 2001, 2002. So that was, the motorcycle boom. So it was, the choppers, all this stuff. And so they're like, well, you have this long to wait before you can come down. So, which was fine with me because then I worked. So I worked and just plugged money away. was like, I don't want to have to move down there and then work a job and then go to school, because I don't think I'll get enough out of the school if I'm working, because we went to school 8.5 hours a day. We're like MMI is like 4 hours. So I was like, and it sped up the program. So you weren't there for like a year and a half. I was there for like 8 months, and then I got to come back.
Okay.
So we did that. And then, I went down there, went to school, met a bunch of cool friends. I know Luke's seen the picture of the mean old bitch chopper that's in the shop, that, that's the first jockey shift chopper I ever learned how to ride. Shot through a ditch, through somebody's front yard, and almost died. But it was, we rebuilt
minor details.
Yeah, minor it was fine. I was just screaming like a girl. Like I couldn't remember how to use the brakes or anything. So, but I still have friends of mine from school. Like I have a friend of mine who lives in Norway that went to school with me there. And like, he writes me messages. I'll send him shop shirts and stuff like that. But that's, that led to the relationships that I have. And then I came back, worked at the first shop I worked at I graduated in 2004, came back and worked there till late 2006 when the shop caught on fire. So, and then they never reopened. So they just it was kind of done and over with. But with that shop, when I came back, I was working towards actually buying the shop from the owners. So that was the plan. Okay. I was going to take over their shop, and then it just didn't happen. It didn't come to fruition. After the fire, it was kind of devastating to them, because that was like, their life plan, and it was, it was gone. It was a hellacious fire. It cooked my toolbox. I still have my top box that got cooked and melted all my tools through it and everything like that. I have it at my house. It's in my garage. Shit. And I was just like, just seeing it, like it was wild, because the fire actually happened on a Monday, and I didn't work Mondays. So I was off Sundays and Mondays, and I went Tuesday through Saturday. Well, my dad was on shift at Kirkwood, and he goes, "Hey, you might want to go down to the shop." I'm like, "For what?" He's like, "It's on fire." I'm like, "You sure?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm sure. So I made it down there and came around the turn where like the shop was at, and there was fire trucks everywhere. The roof was broke open, and it was wild, because I think when it happened, it was 2 weeks before we were leaving for Sturgis.
Oh, wow.
We were actually selling a bike to a guy, and it got knocked over in the fire. It didn't damage it too much, had smoke damage and everything like that, but we were selling a bike to a guy, and like it destroyed, 6-7 customer bikes, like gone, like cooked, over with. So I was like, man,
wow.
And it was, we still went to Sturgis. It was great. He's like, my boss was like, ain't nothing you could do. It happened. So, he goes, we'll get the shop cleaned up and get it boarded up, and, we got to deliver this bike, but we'll still go. So we went to Sturgis that year. And then we came back, and I just knew that they weren't gonna reopen. They were later on in life, and it was just, it was their time. So they're like, well, you can stay on. I'm like, I'm not staying here, man. It's costing you guys money. So I went my separate ways and went and did a different job, and then found another local shop that was hiring a mechanic, and went and worked there I was there for 3 years. And then the financial crisis happened, where the crash happened. Let me tell you, that was tough times. That was, it was
sure.
Nobody cared about motorcycles then. You're being a service tech that was, doing peacetime. It was tough. And then, made it through that and came out the other side. And I was just like, man, I think I'm just done working here. And I left. And that's when I started City Morgue, was in 2011. I left and went on my own, and I was like, try it and see what happens.
So it's been that long. Mm-hmm. I don't think I realized that you started that in 2011. 15 years, man. That's awesome. That's a big deal.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's, it has its ebbs and its flows, but as long as you stay consistent, like, so you get out of it what you put into it. So I truck along. So, but
it's super interesting to me, because you're like the third person this week, not that I've talked to you directly, but that I've heard kind of found their way to motorcycles through Motorcycle Mania. Mm-hmm. And I think the motorcycle industry drastically underestimates the effect that Motorcycle Mania and kind of getting motorcycles on TV. I know that a lot of people like to throw shade at Orange County choppers and things like that. But I think that Motorcycle Mania Biker Build Off and Orange County Choppers all being kind of on TV at the same time. And then there was another show, and I wish I could remember the name of it, but they used to bring people in that could say they knew how to build bikes, and they would basically give you a box of parts, and if you built the custom chopper, you got to keep it.
Builder Bus.
And they had three.
That's
what was that? Oh, Builder Bus. Yeah.
From Exile.
Oh.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I think I really just think that people underestimate the effect that all of that had on the industry, how many people it brought in, how much interest it generated, because I think it hit at the right time with the right generation of that, boomers that had money to spend, Gen X that was, just the right age, getting out of high school and college and looking for a place to belong. And I think it was, the timing couldn't have been any better for the motorcycle industry in terms of, Harley kind of getting into it. And I think that economic crash you're talking about, that must have been somewhere around 2008, 9, something like that, right?
2008,
yes, 2008.
I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
See, and what's super crazy about that period of time, like I hear people talk about this crash that happened all over the country, but at the same time that economic crash happened for the rest of the country, that's when they opened up the Bakken in the western part of our state, and we were producing more oil than Texas was at that time.
Yeah.
And so like the rest of the country had this economic downturn, and our property values went up. Our, like North Dakota got rich. Like they started this thing called the Sunshine Fund. They put enough money away from oil that all the road construction in our state will be paid for the next 100 years.
Wow. That's nice. Yeah, I wish we had that
Yes. Yeah. So I mean,
we could use that in St. Louis. These roads suck.
Right. So there's every year there's highway projects and stuff happening, but so it's crazy that that like that time, that you thought about that, because I remember you showing me pictures from that fire, and I remember a little bit, because we talked about this a little bit, so I remembered a little bit of your story, but I didn't realize that it was Motorcycle Mania that kind of brought you into it, that drew your attention to motorcycles. That is super interesting, because like I said, I think that the overarching effect of that period of time of motorcycles being on TV had a really significant impact.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We look at like where it reached out to, like, you got like I listened to Jace's podcast today with New Metal, and he said the same thing. Like he saw Motorcycle Mania when he was in high school. And you look at Jason Hallman down there in Florida and stuff like that, like the Chopper Dog guys, like Frank from Speed Dealer and stuff like that. Like it was all interconnected. It was really weird. Like before I left to go to AMI, I went to California with my girlfriend at the time for like a vacation. And she wanted to go like a rodeo drive and that. She's like, "Where do you want to go?" I go Long Beach to go to West Coast Choppers.
Right.
And I did.
Right.
Pictures from it when it was still the building right there before he bought the whole block and everything like that. But I just remember like walking in there and looking at those bikes like, holy shit, like I'm here, like, and I was like, oh, let me walk around and look at the shop. And then that's when he had the pit bulls, and the pit bulls walk up to the gate and said, "Not today, Jesus, and not happening, not doing it." I'm a big turkey leg to them. So, but it just the impact of that is crazy.
Well, it is crazy, because at that same time, like when those motorcycles hit right after Motorcycle Mania, Jesse, he tells a story. He turned around and, out of some like crazy scheming way, he convinced Walmart to put his T-shirts in Walmart. And that's where that's where things got absolutely out of control and insane for him.
Yeah.
Because I think they said something like, I no, don't quote me on this, but I think the number was something like $50 million he made off of T-shirt sales from Walmart.
Yeah, I think it was in the first
month.
That's
a lot of T-shirts.
Yeah. It was just absolute sheer insanity.
Mm-hmm.
And the crazy thing is, fast forward to today, those shirts are all coming back.
Yep.
They're becoming, there's a period of time where, everything disappeared, and now that stuff is starting to trickle back in again.
Or seeing similar designs on shirts, right? Like the flames and all
the
those
Iron Cross and yep.
I mean, personally, I can't wait for the Affliction shirts. And,
for fuck's sake!
And
I already got mine
bedazzled
pressed, so I'm ready.
Yeah, I really
want to get lubed up and ready to go. Yeah, good.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm gonna put all the jewelry on my jeans, and it's gonna be awesome. Yeah. It's gonna be really cool.
Yeah,
it's gonna be great.
It's gonna be a good time.
Make sure
I'm gonna tuck in my t-shirt and make sure it's a size too small. Good solid medium. It's gonna look really good.
Yeah, make sure you bedazzle your belt buckle too.
Yeah,
it already is, buddy. What are you talking about, man? It's got a big L on there. All the rhinestones, ladies, coming for you.
Oh,
like a rhinestone cowboy or something.
The funny thing is, I had a deuce in here the other day, and they had rhinestones on their seat, like a stitched iron cross on the seat that had rhinestones in it. And I'm like, I asked the guy, I go, "Was this a girl's bike before you got it?" And he's like, "I don't know why." Well, the funny part of it is, it was actually my buddy JB. It was his mom's bike, so it was a girl. It was a girl's bike. I knew the seat. I knew everything about it. And he's like, "Oh, I don't know who owned it before me." I'm like, "Okay,
you lying sack of shit." I do too.
Yeah, I'm like, "Oh man, yeah, cool. I would definitely the seat, but okay, yeah." I got a good deal. I'm like, "I bet you did. I bet you did."
Yeah.
But,
so much, brother.
If you come in with a pink bike, they're like, "Was that a girl's bike?" No, wasn't. Sure wasn't a girl's bike.
No, not at all.
Not at all. But yeah.
Oh man.
That was just thinking about the Affliction rhinestones. I thought of that. I'm like, I remember that. I'm like, first off, how is that comfortable on a seat? Like, that is on your tailbone where it was stitched at. I'm like, maybe you're into it. I don't know. I'm not here to play when they bring their bike in. I see some wild shit. So, it's like, but I was just like, yeah, is that a girl's bike? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, I do. And yes, it is.
Well, you have to think, if you have rhinestones on a seat, it's got to be only ridden to a bar, right? I mean, there's no way.
Yep.
There's no way you're putting miles on that, because if you actually do, you'd need some surgical removal of rhinestones from your taints, because they'd be implanted in there for real.
Yeah.
So what's the copay on that?
Well, I'm more or less thinking, I'm thinking like, this stupid ass weather that we've been having, that like, could you imagine a bike like that sitting outside in 100-degree weather?
Oh.
I mean, those rhinestones, it would melt right to your ass. Yeah. I mean, as soon as you sat down, that fucker would go right into your butthole. Yeah. I mean,
hey.
Welcome to Motor State Podcast, where we talk about burning your butthole. That's fantastic. Yes.
With rhinestones.
Yeah. With rhinestones, yes.
New type of body.
This is gonna be a fun edit to put out on social media. This is gonna be fantastic. Fantastic. Well, Chris, let me ask. So, started at 04 or came out of training in 04. Mm-hmm. So right in the middle of the twin cam era, and then obviously moved into M8 and the Gen 2. I don't know. I've always been curious this, and I've never asked you or Mikey or anyone, like, going from a twin cam and learning the M8. Like, how hard was that to take on and educate yourself with a complete change in platform like that?
Not super bad, because they're very similar. I get it. Like, the case is different and stuff like that, but like the newer stuff is kind of more user friendly. Like, if you go back to like a shovel head or a pan head, or, even early Evos, like, there's a lot more to it than like, just bolting like a cam in. Like, you got to have cam in play. You got to shim them so this is right and stuff like that. And I get like with the new ones, like if you get into like the big inch ones, yeah, that needs to be done correctly, but it's not super bad to go from like a twin cam to an M8, They're similar design. I always say it's a twin cam and Evo smashed together. So that's why you got an M8. You know, granted you got a couple extra valves, but that's all it is. So, but
Okay.
it's just knowing what years were problemsome. Like, you know, when they started switching bearings in the lower ends and stuff like that. When did they get rid of the Timken rollers and stuff? So educating yourself on that, or like when the early M8s came out and they had the oil sumping problems and stuff like that.
Mm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
What
Sure.
I find more difficult is people that don't know what they're doing when they work on them. Like, you know, they're confident. They watch,
Sure.
you know, I watched a YouTube video. I'm like, right on. I'm not going to ever knock
YouTube
anybody for
certified
trying.
mechanic.
Yeah. I'm never going to knock anybody for trying to work on their own stuff. But like, if you feel like you're too in over your head, I feel like people need to reach out to your independent shop and make that relationship with like a guy like me. I don't mind helping anybody, you know. I know this is how I make a living, but you know, I didn't get in this industry to be a millionaire. And there's no way you're going to be a millionaire in the motorcycle industry. So I don't know. I guess there's some people that done it, but not me. But it's just not being overconfident, but being aware of where your limitations are, you know. I have really good customers of mine that work on their own bike, and they'll get in and they'll be like, "Oh, what's this?" And then I get the 10,000 pictures. What's this? And I say, "Do me a favor, let's bring it to me, and I can walk you through it." You know, or come by here. It's just easier to have that one-on-one interaction. I hate texting back and forth. You know, like Luke will call me and ask me, "Hey, I got this." Okay, well, yeah, do this, this, and this. You know, it's it's no biggie. You know, it's
whoa. When
well-
I call you, well, first of all, you're a dumbass. Let me explain it to you. And then he talks really slow, and then I can understand it. So I really appreciate that. So
yeah, but it's even like, well, if you think of like, I look at it like how I've kind of taught Jason. Like you guys both know Jason, so Jason's like my shop helper. So, you know, he wanted to learn. He got into riding, and then he wanted to work on his own bike. He bought his Heritage and started working on it. And like I showed him, I'm like, "Hey man, you do this, this, and this." He's like, "Well, I want to change the cams in it." I go, "Okay, well here's the tools." And he just kind of looked at me like deer in the headlights, like, "Oh shit!" Like, no, I don't know what to do. I'm like, well, either you're going to tear into it, but the good thing for you is I'm standing right here. You know, if you were doing it on your own and didn't have it on a lift, then you could go down a rabbit hole where you could really mess something up. So, you know, it was a teaching moment with him. Like, he's like my little brother that drives me absolutely berserk, but you know, I love him to death. But it's just, you know, having that interaction with your local shop, I think, is something I try to do so people feel comfortable. You know, like, because I know going to a Harley dealership, like I can't. I hate it. I can't stand walking in there because I can't stand go, "Hey man, what you here for?" You know, it's like they want to jump on you. I'm like, "I'm just trying to go to parts." What kind of parts do you need? I'm like, "What I need to fix a bike." You know, I get it. That's what they get trained on and everything. But I'm just like, you know,
Sure.
I'm not going to buy a $50,000 Road Glide. I can't do that. I'm sorry. You know, I don't. You know, I'm just here to get some parts that I ordered. But having that interaction with a local shop, like I try to always tell myself, like, you know, people aren't going to remember what you said or what you did, but it's going to be how you made them feel. So if somebody feels comfortable coming to my shop, like, you know, Chris actually gives a shit about what I do, you know, like, yeah, come back, please, you know, because that's how I feed my family. So it's like one of those things. But yeah,
I think the other thing too that people underestimate is that you know, when there's so many people that go out and buy motorcycles and they get the motorcycle home and maybe they go you know, maybe they go for a ride or whatever and they come home and they're like, now what?
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think developing a relationship with a local shop can help make you feel comfortable with the culture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially if you didn't grow up around bikes,
Mhm.
because then, you know, you're going to start to speak the language to them so they can start to understand things and not feel like a complete jackass.
Yeah.
Right. Or, you know, whatever those situations. And like you said, you know, I mean, so many people that are in the industry, they look like straight criminals,
Mhm.
right? And so it can be straight intimidating for a lot of people until you get to know people, until you understand the culture, until you understand what it's like, and you surround yourself with people. Like I always tell people, like, you walk into a Harley shop and you don't have a Harley, you feel like you don't belong there. You don't have the keys to the cool kids club, right? But if you buy a Harley from a local person and you didn't buy it out of a shop, and then you go to a local shop, all of a sudden you don't need to belong to a cool kids club. You don't need to be made to feel stupid. And not every Harley dealership is like that, but a lot of them are. You know, a lot of them they give you this impression like, what are you doing here? You know what I mean? And even though they're supposed to be welcoming and, you know, whatever, like you said, it can either be they're trying to jump down your throat and sell you something you don't need, or they just, you know, they treat you like you don't belong.
Yeah.
And I think that developing a relationship with a local shop that is, especially if you're the kind of person that can be trusted, and believe me when I tell everyone, Chris is one of those guys, right? So and he just got done out of his own mouth saying that, you know, if you went in with your bike and you were working on your own bike and you said, hey, I need to know how to do something, he isn't reaching his hand into your back pocket as the first thing he's trying to do, right? And I think that there's a value to that beyond so many other things that I think is underestimated in the industry, right? I mean, I've done a lot of work to my own bike, but guess what? I don't have a machine to change tires. You know what I mean? Like I would obviously take that to a shop and have something like that done. Or if I was going to have an entire top end on my bike done, I would take that to a shop to do that, likely, because, you know, but air intake, exhaust, you know, cam. I mean, I've done all of that kind of stuff, and there are things I feel comfortable with and things I don't, and you know, but at the end of the day, having that access to a shop, and like you said, you didn't go into it to be a millionaire, but you're feeding your family, right? So you're making a living, and so and that makes a huge difference, because there are things that, you know, that because you've been, you know, you've done your work, you've gone and you've gotten the education, and you've got, you know, you've got the experience of years and years and years and years and years. And so, you know, you just, you know, things that the average person doesn't know. And like, so super simple thing. So we were on a motorcycle trip. I rode up next to my buddy, and he's like, I've been hearing this noise. And I rode up next to him, and I was like, holy shit, dude. Like, I'm like, I can hear your piston. I mean, it was just like the craziest noise ever. And so we stopped at this place. We told the shop, and they're like, we told the Harley dealer, and they're like, there's nothing we can do. We're like, we're on the road. I'm like, hey, can we borrow a flat jack so that we can get his bike off the ground and we can figure it out? I texted one of my other buddies. He Googled some shit. He goes, hey, did you guys, you guys just did, you just did an exhaust on that bike, right? And I was like, yeah. He goes, did you go in and retorque everything? And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, did you go in and retorque everything? I said, no, I don't think he retorqued anything. And he was like, he goes, check the front head. The M8s are notorious for the front head getting loose. On the exhaust after you've changed out the exhaust. If you don't go back in and retorque it, it'll get loose. He goes, I bet you what you're hearing is piston slap, because there's an exhaust bracket that's loose. And because we had done a cam not too long, and we thought maybe one of the push rods is loose. So we popped those covers off, and they were adjustable push rods, and they were like just solid. They weren't moving at all. We're like, fuck, we don't know. I'm like, dude, your motors blew up. You know, like, we didn't know. And so my buddy, he was like, he goes, because I like made a video and played him the noise, and he goes, that's it. He goes, check it for sure. Sure as shit. We went right around, checked that front head, and the exhaust bracket was loose. And so it was loose enough that you could hear the piston. You know what I mean? And as soon as we tightened that back up, perfect. It was nothing. And it was just, you know, one of those things that would have been a perfect thing where likely you would have been like, yep, that's exactly what that is. Like, your motor didn't blow up. It's this, right? And so.
Yep. I had that instance, what was it, Wednesday? Really good customer of mine brought it. He was bringing his wife's chopper here. Well, he rode his Softail chopper that I did for him, And he's like, dude, there's a noise. There's this terrible noise. Like he goes, it's very intermittent, but it's terrible. And I'm like, well, let me ride it. I go, how many? I can't remember how many miles he had on it. It's a 2004 Softail. I think it has like 12,000 miles. Hopefully I've had one of those motors where the balancer bearing goes out and it's intermittent because the actual cage inside the bearing for the balancer breaks. Well, then the ball bearings keep flipping to each side. So where it's at, I go, hurt, and it give you like a weird noise, but then it'll go away. I'm like, let me ride it. So I rode it and I came back. I go, nope, your charging system's done, man. He's like, what? I go, your charging system's done. He's like, how do you know? I go, I could just tell because the magnets, I go, either the splines are gone out of the rotor on the stator and the magnets are just sticking and it's just, sometimes it gets free and it kicks around. And he's like, I don't understand. I'm like, turn it on. So he turned it on. I come out there like my doctor stethoscope coming out like ER, And I'm like, listen. And I put it on the primary, and all of a sudden it broke free. Did the thing. I go, that's it, man. I go, you just need a new rotor for your charging system. So sure as shit, I broke into it today. There was no splines left in the rotor. I go, but when you're in there, you don't want to just do the rotor. I'm changing out your whole charging system because that's all I need to do is get in here and then your stator goes bad. But it's one of those things.
Right.
It's like, just hearing the noises, like you said, and just figuring out what's what, But yeah, it's just the time that you put in. Like, I'm just listening to things and stuff like that is something that I've tried to invest in. Like, I tell people, like I told Luke this one time, I was over at Mikey's shop at Nine Finger, and it was for his birthday, and that's when he was building his Born Free FXR build. Well, then Steve Chamberlain showed up when he just built that FXR, and they were sitting there just talking about FXRs. They're going over Mike's build. I just sat on a stool, just sat there and listened. Like a weirdo, just sitting in the corner, like, dude, get all in, because the stuff they were going over, I'm like, man, I think that's what a lot of people don't do. They always feel like they have to interject. I'm like, I am just a sponge that just wants to listen. Like, just sit there, take it in, listen to these two guys go over, everything that they're doing and go from there. Because like with me working with Mikey here lately on, the frames he's done for me and then me helping him out with his FXR build, like just listening to him just shoot off little stuff that he knows and stuff like that. It was like, that guy is a plethora of knowledge. Like I don't want to say he's underrated, but like the more attention he could get for his shop, it would be great because that's what he knows. And, he's a nice, humble guy for the stuff he can do. It is absolutely wild. But, it's cool having that around here. Like, him, Steve Chamberlain, you got Kyle from Forever Rad. You got all the guys at River City Cycle Parts here in St. Louis and everything like that. Like when you're in the conversation with those guys, you just need to listen because you can get knowledge from it. That's the one thing I learned when I was at AMI. My one engine instructor was like a Harley Davidson encyclopedia. Like I could hand him a part and he would know if that's a mid-year change from like a 76, shovel head. They only did this. This is why it's got this grind on here and everything. And I was just like, okay, wow, man. And like when we were building it goes back to my buddy's bike we were building. When we were building that, like he was all in. Like just to help us out. Like he was, if you showed interest to that man, like he would give you all the knowledge you wanted. Like he would show you everything. And then I had my Ironhead Sportster motor down there that I was working on. Well, then he wheels out of the back room of our Harley Davidson engine lab, his land speed record Ironhead. He goes,
wow,
we're going to take your engine and make it as fast as this one. I said, well, we ain't got to do that. I don't need to go. I don't. He goes, no. He goes, I'm going to show you the tips and tricks. And he goes, and if you reinvested the interest that he would give you, it was great. Like, man, it was just awesome to have him as an instructor. And I was like, man, this is just what you need to do. Sometimes you need to shut the hell up and listen. Like, just sit there and soak it in. Just because a lot of these guys are either not in the industry anymore or they're not, I don't want to necessarily call it gatekeeping, but like they just don't have the passion for it anymore. Like the guys I worked with, like you could tell they were getting burnt out. They had plenty of knowledge, but they were just getting burnt out. Like towards the end of their, my time being there and then the end of the first shop closing up, like That's why I tell people all the time. The 2 shops I worked in, I learned what to do and what not to do and what I'm going to do. So I took the good, the bad, and then how I'm going to spin it to be what I want to do. So yeah, that's one take that I took from it for sure, in my learning aspect of everything. So
No, I love that because I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like there's less gatekeeping in the industry now, but
oh, absolutely,
but you know, if you don't show interest and show like you're going to make effort, that you're going to make an effort, right? That you give a shit, then you're not giving anyone any reason to teach anything or even just tell you stories, spend any time. You know, it's you know, what you put into it's what you'll get out of it. You know, old adage, but it's very true in that circumstance.
Well, speaking of shops, this was a big year for City Morgue. What happened? What changed for City Morgue this year, and you that was different from before?
I would do City Morgue like part-time. So I would have full-time hours, but I would be in the shop like in the evening and after that. And then May rolled around and my situation I was at with my other job just wasn't working for me. It was a local municipality and I am not a big fan of government work. So I just left. I just came up. I was done. Like, you know, I worked with great guys there and they were older mechanics. Like most of the guys I worked with there, they had 30 plus years of experience. So just learning, you know, troubleshooting stuff from them was cool. But the political side of it, I was done. I was like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. And I talked to my wife and I said, you know what? I think if I'm going to make this a go, then I have to be here dedicated full time. And ever since I've done that this year, the shop has taken off, like just business wise, opportunity wise, you know, new clients, people I've met, you know, it's been cool. It's freed me up to actually step towards the direction I want to take the shop. So, you know, I'm actually, Mikey invited me to go on the hot bike tour with him. So next month I will be on the hot bike tour with everybody else. So
that's awesome.
I get to drive the van. I don't get to ride his FXR. I said, well, am I riding with you? I get to hang on to you? He said, no. All right, Mikey. We're not that close yet, but we could be, you know.
if you'll give me a chance, just let me reach across the table.
Yeah.
So a question that I always, you know, like to ask for people that are in your position, Chris, is do you still because you mentioned you know, people getting burned out and that kind of stuff, do you still have the same passion for like riding and like doing motorcycle shit personally that you did now that that's also your kind of full-time gig?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I wish I could ride more. I wish I could ride my own bike more. Let's put it that way. Because literally, I ride just about every day. It's just not my bike. So, you know, I test
Sure.
stuff like that. My passion since I've been doing it full time has just lit up. Like working with Mikey on stuff, you know, and getting that aspect of it because I want to learn more about fabrication. I'm not going to say I'm a fabricator. You know, I see what he does, and I'm just like, he's like, it's okay. I said, are you fucking kidding me? What do you mean?
I've never seen him do anything that's just okay.
Yeah, it's just okay. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, man. Wow, I feel dumb. I'm just gonna go hit my head against the wall over here. But like, I think my passion for it has just gotten better because, you know, it's like I'm in control of my own destiny now. That's how I feel. So like what I'm putting into it, I'm gonna get out of it. Like, you know. That's why I bought the FXR frame that I bought. You know, like I was like, Mikey's like, I got this FXR frame. I'm like, okay. He's like, well, the guy from Florida's bringing it up. I'm like, okay. He's like, do you want it? I'm like, I didn't know you were offering it to me, but okay, sure. Because he was going to build it for a different guy. And he's like, well, then you can build your FXR. So I'm like, okay, because I've never owned an FXR ever. You know, I've always had tails. I have my road glide, but like, I think that's going to be the cool thing for me to like work with him on getting that done because we're going to cut it up and everything like that and do that. But like, I think that just made my excitement that much more. Like, you know, just learning new stuff. Like I try to learn something new about the industry every day. You know, I will say when I first got into it, I was kind of more of a shy person, I guess you could say, because back then it was like, you know, it was a different kind of guard back then with the old guys back in the early 2000s. It's like you're new to the industry. No one gives a shit what you think, you know. I still remember going to like the V Twin Expo up in Cincinnati when they had everybody there. Like, you know, Billy Lane had a semi truck and, you know, and you got all these guys all over the place. I'm like, God damn, there's a lot of money here, you know. And I was just like, man, this is cool. But then it slowly trickled away. But it's like, where it's at now, I think it's in really good hands. Like with what you guys do with the podcast and like Jace's podcast and all that, it's a new platform. You know, I think it's good to reintroduce it and bring it up the way it is. But I think definitely my passion with it, I love it. Like, you know, I'm fully invested. Like, you know, there's always something new. It's an eye-opening thing for me. You know, I got my son, he's 9 now, you know, and he comes and Luke's met him before. If you ever want to learn anything about Godzilla, my son will teach you. Oh, Luke, he gave Luke a master class. He told him every Godzilla, what year they're from, everything. So
I mean, I could barely spell Godzilla before that day, and it was very enlightening.
Yeah. So,
I mean, he's sweet, but yeah, I mean, he's your Godzilla expert right there.
Yeah, he's passionate about Godzilla. But like me spending more time with him and having him in the shop and everything like that, like the people he gets to meet, you know, and then he gets to, you know, see the guys who come around the shop and stuff like that, and like looking at the bikes that we build and what we fix and everything like that. Like he gets it. Like, you know, I told him I was going to be on here tonight. He's like, so you're going to be on YouTube? I'm like, yeah. He goes, I might watch you there. I said, okay, well, geez, thanks, bud. Appreciate it. I go, well, I'm going to be on there with Luke. He goes, Luke. I go, Luke. He comes over to the shop. He's like, oh, I know Luke. Me and him talked about Godzilla. I'm like, okay, right. I get it, man. You know, but yeah, no, it's been cool. It's been really cool for sure. So,
yeah, I think the barrier of entry for motorcycling is different now than it was, you know, back in the day. I mean, I'm a little bit older than you guys, and so when I came up in Southern California, everybody had a connection at a local shop, because in the 80s, you know, everybody's fucking bike broke all the time. And so, you know, the local shop was where everybody hung out. And so if I was riding, I was also in the shop. And I mean, and there was all kinds of rules, you know what I mean? Like if you touch some other guy's bike, I mean, they'd fucking take you in the back and smack you around, you know, and they weren't fucking around, you know? And so, but like the barrier of entry has changed so that you're, you know, with motorcycles being accessible on YouTube, on digital platforms, on Instagram, all of these other places, I think people can look at it and they can see themselves in those situations, as opposed to just seeing a motorcycle going down the street and thinking, holy fuck, like that guy looks like they're going to kill me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that that is, by making it more accessible, you've opened up the industry to a different type of person coming into it now too. And so, you know, things are changing and things are evolving. And like Luke and I have talked about it, and I think that the end of my generation, you know, Gen X and kind of that cusp millennial generation, I think that they, you know, they're ushering in kind of a digital age of motorcycles.
Yeah.
That is, you know, and one of the things I've said to Luke is that for me specifically, my journey in motorcycling as an adult without the digital age, I might have been. I don't even think Mike. I would have been a little lost, because all of the connections, all of the friends, everything that is good for me in motorcycling has happened because of the digital age of motorcycles. And so I think of it very, very differently than a lot of people do. I mean, I messaged somebody on Instagram today, and I said, those pictures on Instagram that you just took are incredibly inspiring. And she messaged back, you need to bring your Pan Am out here too.
Yeah.
This is like a digital friend, right? We've never met in person, but she knows the bikes that I ride. I know the bikes that she has, and she was in California, like hugging a redwood tree, and she put up these pictures, and Luke knows who I'm talking about now. And I was like, those are some amazingly inspiring pictures, and like that's how I look at it. Like when I see a cool bike on Instagram or a cool paint job or a cool whatever, I think about that's like I put that in my memory bank. That's all part of that, part of that thing. And rather than thinking about all the shitty things that it brings to the table, right? All of the fucking internet trolls that have something shitty to say to people. I always just focus on all of the good things and all the positive things and all the great things that have come from it. And I think that's absolutely fantastic. You know what I mean? I had an opportunity. I mean, and you guys know Alicia, right, from Perfor Apparel. I had an opportunity to speak with her a while back on another podcast I was on, and then met her in Sturgis a couple of years ago. And then Luke and I have talked with her, and so. And then this year in Sturgis, she kind of got, some honorary things because of her company. And if you read the post that she made about it, she, at the very bottom, she said, I made a motorcycle company about being seen, and now I feel seen.
That's good.
That was cool.
And it was really amazing. And I think that for you to say that, for you to recognize like our podcast or Jace's podcast or whatever, I think you also kind of understand that motorcycling has changed too, right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that, I think it goes all the way back to like you mentioned in the very beginning, the motorcycle mania. I think that time started the beginning of it, and then it was on all of our TVs, and now it's on all of our phones, right? And I think that's the new, thing. And Luke and I have talked about it too. There's a big difference too between an influencer that's in it to be an influencer, or somebody that's in motorcycling and they do digital content because that's the platform where everything is at now. You know what I mean? And so because we all know that there are people out there that are digital influencers that don't ride their bikes, that don't, you know what I mean? It's all a facade. It's just like, there's people that criticize the girls that do motorcycle modeling, right?
Yeah.
And because they use the word influencer, right? Motorcycle models have existed since the fucking first time a magazine was published.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? I mean, people forget about it. Every fucking mechanic had a girl with her boobs hanging out on their wall or in their bathroom in every motorcycle shop across the country since the early 70s.
Yep.
So to act like that's a new thing now, it is not.
Yeah.
So, and you have legitimate motorcycle models that they model essentially just on motorcycles, and you have girls now that ride and do their own thing and have no interest in that side of it, and they're not, it's not mutually exclusive, right? There's room for all of those people in the industry, like where I like to ride long distance, but the industry doesn't exist without the guys that like to ride on the weekends only.
Exactly.
Or the guys that like to bar hop.
Yep.
All of that shit, you have to have all of it for the industry to exist.
I want to take a moment to thank Tab Performance for supporting the podcast and being our very first sponsor. It means the world to us. Check out everything they have to offer at tabperformance.com. I know you're thinking exhaust, and absolutely, they build some great exhaust systems. They also have handlebars, tuners, cams, and not just for your Harley, but also for your Indian, Yamaha, and off-road vehicles. Also, don't forget to check out Kyle running in the King of Baggers, number 78, wearing the bright yellow neon boots, running around that track real fast.
Yeah, I have a quote that hangs up in the shop, and I sent one to Jace too. It's from, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Chopper Town movie, The Sinners. If you haven't, you should.
Yes.
It was from
I watched that. I watched that on your recommendation.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you haven't seen it, Ryan, you should see it. But there's a quote at the beginning of it that says, "The true heroes that keep it all going will one day receive glory in heaven." So I have that hanging up in my shop as like a reminder. Like, you may not get all the glitz and the glamour, but you are one of the true heroes that keep it all going. So, I was like, that
yeah,
a lot of sense to me. So,
yeah. and that looks different for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And I think that we can get very caught up in our own, like, oh, well, just if you don't ride 600 miles a day, you're nothing.
Yeah.
That means nothing.
No.
That literally means nothing.
No.
It's only about that only matters to the clique of riders that you ride with, or the group that you identify with. Like I tell people all the time, go and buy a motorcycle, and then get in where you fit in.
Yep.
The first group of people you find that ride motorcycles are not going to be your friends, or it's highly unlikely that they won't be. Right? It doesn't mean they're bad people, but you have to get in where you fit in. You have to find your people. You have to find the people that you identify with, the people that you want to ride with, the people that you want to be around, and you have to find your people within the industry, because all different kinds of people exist. I mean, and if you don't believe it, turn on Instagram and look at all the Sturgis stuff.
Yeah.
You're finding people that are riding. You're finding people that are at parties. You're finding people that are doing burnouts. You're finding people that are doing wheelies. Not all that shit's for me, but it's all there.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah.
Man, the post from Sturgis. Ryan texted me earlier this week. On Monday, it was like, I'm having serious FOMO not being at Sturgis.
Yeah. First time in a long time.
I am now having that myself, and I've never even been. And I just, man, I wish I was there. I don't know. The pictures of it and posts have been great. I'm jealous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really slowed down, and it was so weird too, because you had like how it went. You had all the posts in the beginning where like people were fucking dying of heat stroke, right? And then all of a sudden it was like everybody's being hailed on, and it was like 5 straight days of rain.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It was just like crazy weather. And now you see the post from Sturgis. Now it's 50 degrees out there. Everybody's got sweatshirts on and their fucking leather jackets and, flannels and everything else. And so, but that's Sturgis. You never know what you're going to get. You're going to get heat stroke and rained on. And, all of that shit's going to happen if you stay there for
before
more than
lunch,
3 or 4 days.
lunchtime.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shit. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. When we went in 2006, it was hot as hell, but then when it cooled off at night, and then the storms came, and like the one story I remember from there, we were all the way out at Moonshine Gulch, and the guy I worked for at the time had he had a Softail that he built, but it had nitrous on it, so it was ignorant. It had a 131 Merch in it. It was the most ridiculous bike ever. But we were leaving Moonshine Gulch, and Hot Bike was set up there when they were still around, when they were before their iteration they're in now, and he hammers it. And I just see the belt just start shredding and flying through the sky. I'm like, well, vacation's over. This is cool. I guess this will be working. So
yeah,
we get up there and he's like, yeah, I shredded the belt. I'm like, yeah, it's back there on the road if you want to go get it. Maybe we could tape it. He didn't find it amusing. But we went back to camp, grabbed the truck and trailer and went to go back out there. Well, then a storm rolled in over the mountains, and holy shit, it was like Thunderdome to get all the way back out there to get him. It was like we're trying to get gas, and everybody's at the gas stations underneath the awnings and everything like that. And then we made it back out there, go back into town to get a belt and a pulley and everything. I'm like, man, I gotta lay on the ground and work on this dumbass's bike because he just wanted to be cool in a magazine, Luckily, we're leaving the JP Cycles up there, and we walk out, and he knows the guy that has a trailer there that has a lift in it. So we wrangled this guy up. We rent his trailer for like an hour and a half so we can put the belt on and everything like that. And we're standing there working on everything, and I turn around, and I don't know if you guys remember Kendall Johnson. He was build off. Standing there, I turn around, and he's standing in the trailer. He's like, what's going on, man? I'm like, holy shit, where the hell did you come from? He's like, I just seen what's got going on. I'm like, okay, right on, man. He's like, I'm just hanging out. I'm like, this is weird, man. This is so strange that I'm sitting there. And he's like, he starts looking at the motor on the bike and everything like that. But I just remember that night. So then after we got done there, we went into town, and this is when I still drank. So I was drinking. Apparently, I got handcuffed to the bar at One Eye Jack's and got the bartender. And apparently, there's photo evidence. So my buddies give me the photos. They're like, hey, you remember this? No idea what happened. None at all. I remember being bruised the next morning when I woke up and don't know what happened. But we had a storm roll in that night, and my tent collapsed on top of me. But I was so gone, I just slept through it, woke up, and the tent's laying on me. I'm like, oh, gosh, what happened, But then, I was telling my wife knows about it. She's seen the pictures and everything like that. She's like, so I guess you had fun out there. I'm like, it's long before I knew you, dear. It's long before
It was another lifetime ago.
Yeah. And this would have been 20 years since the last time I was out there this year if I would have went. But I couldn't manage it with what I got going on the shop. And then with me going with Mikey on the hot bike tour, I'm like, man, financially, I can't afford that. So it's like, I'll do the hot bike tour. I'll hang out with that and see what that's about. So, but.
And I tell people after having been there now, I think I've been there 3 times, and having been there a few times, you can go there and you can make it a big party.
Mm-hmm.
You can go there and make it a riding event. You can go there and not do either one of those things and just go to concerts.
Yeah.
You can make that to be whatever you want it to be. I mean, you can go there and ride boonie bikes around, and there's opportunities to make that anything you want. And there's stuff happening in every little town up to almost 100 miles away. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You go out there to Sturgis and you go to Devil's Tower, and every small town out to Devil's Tower has something going on, has a bar, has a band, there's a bar in a small town in Wyoming out that's in a loop if you go to Devil's Tower, and they set up a giant pool, and all the bartenders are serving all your drinks. They're the ones in the pool. All the bartenders are in bikinis serving the drinks to all the customers. And it's so there's and if that's not your jam, great. You can find
and nobody
what
gets
you
out
want.
to go to the bathroom. It's really weird.
Yeah, exactly. You can make the event into whatever you want it to be, and so I think that's why Sturgis has maintained and been able to stay relevant, is that there's really something for everybody out there. Like you said, you don't drink anymore. Well, I went out there with somebody that doesn't drink either, twice.
Yeah.
And, and it's fine. Or you can go out and drink at the same time. I mean, when we all went to Mama Tried this year, there was a group of us that went to a bar and in downtown Wisconsin, or downtown Milwaukee, and there was nobody in there yet because we were in there way too early. And the bar was a lot of fun, but that was the first time I'd gone to Mama Tried and actually got a little loopy. For the most part, I like to go to the races and whatever, and
that was first time I've ever drank at Mama Tried this year. Not at all. I'm lying out my ass. Totally lying out my ass.
I actually bought a drink I could not finish, and I gave it to 2 other people.
You were going to go into a diabetic coma if you finished that son of a bitch. It was so sweet and sugared down. Lord.
Well, the bartender, I think, like, I ordered a Red Bull vodka. And I think that he mixed up the Red Bull and the vodka for the second drink, because I think it was 3/4 Tito's and 1/4 Red Bull.
Oh, because the second sweeter than that, though. That was
the weird. Second drink was really hard to do anything with. So yeah, and then one of the guys that was with us was shipping out to the Navy, like literally 2 days 2 days later, when we were at Mama Tried, and so Luke and I didn't go, but the whole rest of the group took him to his first strip club.
Oh my God.
Apparently it was a short visit.
Yeah, it was a short visit to the strip club, because here's the thing, right? So anybody that knows anything about a strip club is that you have the C team.
I have no idea. Please enlighten me.
You know about this, Luke. No. You have the C team, right? Yeah. They're the ones that work before 5 p.m. And then you have the B team, and some of the C team leaks into the B team if they're there before 10 p.m., right? Mm-hmm. And then you have the A team, who doesn't show up till 10 p.m., and they work from 10 to 2, right?
Yep.
Well, guess what? They were there before the B team even showed up. So, the experience that he got with strippers, he was like, is this really what it's like to go to a strip club?
We may have saved him some money in the long run, right? Like, we may have scared him off a little bit with that.
Right. Because it was the girls, bless their hearts, they're still trying to make money, but the ones that are just freshly had a baby, or maybe are currently pregnant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's that team.
I mean, I may or may not have been. Yeah, I may or may not have been in a few establishments similar to what you're sharing, and their A team was what you're explaining is the C team, and I was scared for my life, but allegedly.
But wasn't that in East St. Louis, Luke?
Allegedly.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
I can vouch for that.
East St. Louis, Sauget,
Centerville,
Washington Park.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Literally 2 nights later, the mayor is shot to death in his car of Washington Park after I was allegedly at a strip club there.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You leave some of those places to stop at a car wash to wash yourself. You just throw the money and wash yourself. That's it.
I was like, do I just need to dump boiling water on myself?
Yeah.
I'm not real sure what to do right now.
Yeah. I will.
So you walk down to the pharmacy, get your Hep B vaccination right before you go home.
Why do you have 8 gallons of bleach you get from Walmart? Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
And a lot of cleaning to do of myself.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yes.
I remember walking into this place and it was literally just a metal building. And I walked in and as soon as we walked in, I go, well, in the parking lot, I was protesting. I didn't drive. So I was protesting this venture we were on. And so we walk in. I was like, well, I'm not paying the cover. Fuck you guys. So they paid my cover. I walk in, I go, that's it. I'm going back outside. And they drug me back in and I had a beer and I was like, I'm ready. And I would lean up against the car for an hour before they walked out. I was like, I refuse to be here. 6 stops that night. And the last one, my buddies fell asleep at the table and I was like, well, we're going to get kicked out. All of a sudden they turned the lights on. All right, it's time to go home. I had no idea that strip clubs closed in East St. Louis. I thought they were open 24/7. You want to talk about a turn your life around moment. I'm at a strip club at closing time in East St. Louis. What have I done with my life?
Did you go outside? Was the sun up when you went outside?
We came, you do the drive of shame across the Poplar Bridge next to the arch and the sun's coming up behind you.
God damn.
Yeah. My ex-wife was not happy. I don't know why, but
it was either that you came up at sunup or when you got home you had glitter all over your face and you had to try to explain that shit.
It was the timing of my arrival to the homestead, which was 6:30.
Yeah.
No, 6:45, something like that. And I had 5 people coming to my house at 9 o'clock to help me finish remodeling my kitchen. I never claimed to be a smart man. And so guess who worked for 14 hours that day?
Yeah.
Hey, play hard, work hard, man. I wanted to die. I really did. I wanted to die.
So I want to get back because I want to make sure that everybody understands. So Chris, you have essentially, to my knowledge, essentially, you have a full service shop, right? You're doing you go all the way down to oil changes and all the way up to custom builds.
Yep.
You offer everything except it. And then if somebody had a bike that was that required fabrication, are you farming that stuff out? So you're doing simple fabrication and farming out the intense fabrication, or what does that look like?
Yeah, simple stuff I can do in house. Like the frames and stuff like that, I send them over to Mikey because he's got the frame jig and everything. So, he's helped me out a lot with that stuff and some of the stuff for the chopper that I got. But like little stuff I can do. I got the welder and stuff like that. It's just I'm kind of limited on space, but there may be something coming down the pipe where there may be a bigger shop and two people under the same roof here shortly, maybe.
Ooh, that sounds pretty amazing. The other thing too that I want everybody to keep in mind is that if you like your local shops and you like to support that kind of thing, you need to go to Chris's shop. You need to let's just say that you do some simple maintenance on your own bike. That's great. Then rather than ordering your shit, go to Chris's shop and buy your shit from him, and then take it home and use it. You might pay $2 or $3 more. That's okay, because you'll know that's going to feed his kids a Godzilla addiction.
Yes,
right.
Absolutely.
And so,
yes,
right, and then you're not just sending your money to some unknown company on Amazon. And I'm not saying don't buy stuff on Amazon, but what I am saying is if you go to Chris's shop and you buy your shit that you're going to do to your bike from him, then at least you know exactly who you're giving your money to and what it's going to be for, right?
Yeah.
That's how you support. That's the other way you can support, small shops too. And I was telling Luke that I need, that him and I are gonna, we're gonna plan some sort of trip together next year. And I'm telling you that if I end up down there next year, I'm going to make sure that I go to Chris's shop too, because it'll likely be about time. If I ride my Road King, it'll likely be about time for me to have new tires on my bike. Then while I'm on my trip, I'm going to have them put the new tires on my bike. Like things like that, you can work into your trip schedule. You can do, and they're just easy things to do that you can keep that small shop alive, even if you're doing some of your simple stuff yourself. All that stuff, helps those small shops. And then when you've developed the relationship with your local shop and you've made those connections, when you really get yourself into some fuckery, he's going to be there to take care of you. And that's, and that's important too. Or, when I win the lottery someday, then I can call him up and say, okay, now I'm ready to do my, chopper build. I'm ready to do my, whatever.
Yeah.
Right. And so, those kind of things, or maybe you're already independently wealthy and you want to build, you want to get a cool bike built.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right.
I appreciate any business. I tell people that all the time. And I explain to customers too, like they'll bring parts to me and stuff like that. And like, it's Amazon and stuff like that. I go, I don't mind installing some of this stuff. But I go, but next time, like what you just said, Ryan, like think of me first, because if you have an issue with something that I sell you, I can go to bat to the distributor to get it replaced. And you don't have to jump through hoops with Amazon getting it back to them. Like, I'll do the legwork to, get you something new if you have an issue. Like, I think I had one customer had a problem with the battery. I called up my distributor. I said, hey, this battery is not even a year old and it's already on the fritz. I had him a new battery the next day. So here you go, man. It's all charged, ready to go. Just bring me the old one. I'll dispose of it and everything like that. And it's, it's just that peace of mind, and some people are just looking to save dollars, and I totally understand that, but like, definitely, I think the support your independence thing is one thing I lean on kind of heavily. Like, it's, what you put in is what you get out sometimes. So, it's just definitely, I always tell my customers, I appreciate them more than they know. So,
well, and I think people always need to keep in mind, like, you're getting a deal on Amazon for what reason?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And sometimes you're getting a deal because shit is sold in bulk.
Yep.
Right. I mean, like a lot, like if you're buying oil or whatever, I get it. Like sometimes you can get it for a lot cheaper because they're selling shit in this huge quantities. So they're able to offer a bigger discount. But if you're going to, like I have a Pan America and I put new foot pegs on it. I'm not buying an Amazon special for foot pegs that I'm going to be standing up on riding down the road, because you better buy that shit from a reputable company that has a good name and not Joe Schmo, Amazon company, because I paid $50 less for them, because I can guarantee you there's a reason why they're $50 cheaper.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like you said, you can go to the distributor, you can go to the company. You've built some of those relationships too that you can do that. And or I've heard of this 100 times. People are like, oh, I got this great deal on these handlebars. Yep. Until you try to get those fucking wires through those bars.
And they're not, the cut's tight, it's really tight. You can't get your wires through it.
Yeah. Or the entire inside of the fucking bar is filled with weld.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because it was welded in a way, and you're never going to get those wires through there because there's all those fucking burrs in there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, like safety should be coming first on your bike, right? I mean, we're riding something that's inherently dangerous. So should you be, especially essential parts, should you be getting off Amazon?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm not buying a house from a builder who gets his lumber and shit from Amazon. So why would I do that on my fucking motorcycle too, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
More likely to have a wreck and get hurt on that bike than I am this house falling down.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know. That's just me. But hey, I mean, like we said last week, I mean, you're not buying anything anyway because we're just keeping it stock.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's right. We're just going to keep it stock.
Mm-hmm.
bullshit.
That was just an experiment. Is all that was.
Yeah, that lasted
Luke, that was just
3
an
seconds.
experiment.
Yeah, that lasted 54 minutes because that's how long the episode was. That's about as far as it went. So, all right. So, pop quiz for you, Chris. What is your favorite bike Harley ever made?
Favorite bike Harley ever made? An 82 Sturgis Special.
Ooh,
The black and white.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Yes.
Was that a soft tail?
It's FXE. I don't think it is before the soft tail, so it's.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
Yep.
yeah, okay.
Yep.
What was your first bike? The Rebel? Is that what you said?
That was my first motorcycle. Was the Rebel 250. So
All right.
my first Harley was a 74 Sportster. So
Ooh, 74. All right.
yeah.
All right.
Mhm.
And that was an Ironhead, wasn't it?
Yeah. Kick
That
on-
year.
Yeah.
Yep. Kick on the Ironhead. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So if you don't have them points set right, guess what? You're gonna be tired. You
Yeah.
can be like Jay sitting there pumping on the side of the road. So yeah.
Walking with a limp. Yeah.
Yep. Mhm. Yep.
All right. What do you feel is one of the most reliable Harley motorcycles ever made in your experience?
Oh. Probably an early twin cam, like a soft, I guess I could speak for the fat boy that's out there. That guy, 140,000
There you go.
miles on it, and it finally gave up the ghost because it just had too much pinion shaft run out. So, if you get in the early twin cams, I think they're pretty reliable. I think any of them could be reliable. It's just people need to stay on top of maintenance. It's like with anything,
Sure.
It's all in how you treat it. You get out there and I have some guys that trash their bikes and it's, but I think any of them, if you take the proper steps, you can keep a reliable bike for sure. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Favorite bike you've worked on? There's a bike that stands out that was cool.
Oh, that
or
rhinestone seat
different.
one was really great. I'll tell you that. Either that or the Sportster trike that you got to see, Luke. I don't know. That was
Oh
a big ride.
man,
Whew.
that thing was interesting. Interesting.
Favorite bike I've ever got to work on. I would say it was the first custom build when I got to the first shop I worked at. It was
Okay.
it was an ignorant bike, and that was the name of the bike. It was called fucking ignorant because it had a 330 rear tire, had a 6-inch open belt,
Holy
two
shit.
into 4 exhausts. It was the sign of the times back then. It was
Right.
literally
sure.
you could let go of the handlebars, the bike would stand up on its own and not fall over. That's how wide the rear tire was. But just to be a
Jesus.
process of that, because we put an electric fuel pump on it, ran fuel through the frame because it only had like a 2-gallon
wow.
tank. So we pumped fuel through the frame, so it had enough. It had dual Weber carburetors on each side that came up and stood on side of the tank. It was a ridiculous bike. So
That's wild.
it was cool. I guess because I was young and being part of that process, being fresh out of school and like learning what to do, and I was
Sure.
bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. So I think that still holds a special place in my heart. But I think definitely my top one that I will never forget the experience of working on was my buddy's bike that we built in school, the mean old bitch. Just because
Okay.
the memories I have of that and learning from the teacher, and then when I shot across the road, went through the ditch and through somebody's yard. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah.
Yeah. It was that, traumatic PTSD from that. So, yeah. But
All right, last one. Craziest repair or reason for repair?
Oh, that was
on a bike?
Was it this year? Yeah, it was this year. It was 2000. Man, it was a early 2000s Deuce. The guy went to St. Charles Harley Davidson bike night, drank too much, burnouts, smoked the tire, just got it to where there was no tread in the middle of it. Leaves, the bike starts stumbling, falling on its face. There's oil all down the side of it. This is just what he's telling me from what he found. He's like, I don't know if it blew a head gasket or something, but there's oil all down the side of it. So I stopped at the gas station, put more oil in it. He's like, I got it home. He brings it to me. The front exhaust push rod is snapped in half enough that it exited out of the push rod tubes. The front two lifters for the intake and the exhaust are completely exploded inside of the right side of the motor. I'm like, he's like, oh, it runs. No, it don't. There ain't no way on God's beautiful green earth this thing is running. He goes, oh yeah, I rode it. I'm like, no. So that one was crazy. Just you could see the bluing on the pipes of how hot he got that motor. Like it was Vance and Hines long shots. It was all the way back to the axle on the rear wheel.
Whoa.
That's how blue those pipes were for how hot they got.
Damn.
Holy hell.
Yeah. Yeah. That
sounds like a 20-minute burnout. Like,
how could anyone even be on the bike? Your legs would have caught on fire. Your fucking pants would have caught on fire.
Well, the funny story is I knew another guy that was at St. Charles that night at bike night, and he saw him doing it. He was standing beside it, just chugging beers. Well, just full throttle, just smoking it. I'm like, wow, man. And he's like, well, is it bad? Well, it ain't good. I'm not being rude, but it ain't good. So, but that was probably one of the craziest repairs. It was mind blowing. There was no oil left in the oil tank. And I'm like, what do you want me to do, man? I go, for me to really get into this, we probably need to split the cases and see how bad everything is. He's like, oh, just put push rods and lifters in it. Still going down the road. I saw him the other day riding it. So I must have done something.
Holy shit.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But there was a disclaimer on the work order for that one. Like I suggested this and we're going to be here.
Document everything.
Melted partly. So, but yeah, it was. Yeah, that was wild. The nuttiest one that I've seen here in a long time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I got one for you now too. Now that Luke has his list, is there any? So you've been through billet choppers. You've kind of been through the last like the golden age, the last 20 some years, right? 25 years. Is there any fad that has come and gone during the last 25 years that you're glad is just gone? That really you're not a part of?
Big wheel baggers. not that I, whatever to each his own and everything like that, but I'm gonna tell you what, mounting one of them big ass tires is not fun. Not fun at all. It is. You better stretch and drink. Make sure you're well hydrated before you get into one of those ventures because they won't fit on a tire machine. They're so big.
Oh.
So literally.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Literally, what you got to do is zip tie them all the way around and then work them on. And then and hope it stays. And then hope it doesn't.
And
so
the early part of big wheel baggers, some of those bikes actually, I didn't really mind the aesthetic of them.
Yeah.
Before they got super ridiculous. As soon as it got to like unrideable spaceships, I'm like, this fucking shit has to go.
Yeah.
But I mean, even as a general rule, even during during the chopper craze, some of those choppers that were 16 feet long, I wasn't a fan of those either. Like I'm like kind of I'm like right in the middle, form and function. Like I'm kind of a more I like an Indian Larry kind of like skinny tire chopper kind of thing. Even when the billet choppers were popular with the super fat back tires, while I thought they looked cool, I was not a fan of them. Like the big dog choppers, it just wasn't my jam.
Yeah.
I really like the I really like the West Coast, and when I mean West Coast choppers, I'm thinking more like the choppers that came out of like the San Diego, San Francisco area that were smaller, thinner tires that you could, you know what I mean, like a more of an urban style chopper,
Yep.
like the choppers that Indy and Larry made. Just because, like, to me, they were the perfect amalgamation of artwork and functionality. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But I've always been much more of a fan of a rideable motorcycle as opposed to just the sheer art of it.
I could really see on an old Orange County chopper that's 25 feet long and it takes a Walmart parking lot to turn around. I could really see on that, Ryan.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Funny story about Orange County choppers. They came to my school when I was in school.
Oh, really?
So if you ever look up Junior's dream bike, it's the black and green fucking webbed atrocious piece of dog shit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So when I was in school, they came and filled that episode, and they had their whole big production, their crew there and everything. And we were on break, and we were out, in the courtyard and everything like that. Well, they had the trailer there. They couldn't get that bike to start.
Shut up.
And we were sitting there, we're like, do we go in and help them or what? They're like, man, we really got to run. You can't bring a bike here that doesn't run to unveil it. Like, and, it was just, I don't know. I have my opinions about him. Like, I had interactions with Paul Sr. He seemed like a nice guy. Mikey was there. I think Junior is just, if his dad didn't own a company, he wouldn't be shit. Really, I think everything he's built is the biggest flaming piece of dog shit I've ever seen. But it's to each his own. His attitude towards us when he was there cemented how I felt about him. It was just he treated people like crap, like he was the shit, and it's like, well, dude, I stayed there and they rolled the bike out of the trailer and I walked back into class and went and talked to my teacher about my motor. So I was like, I'm ready to be a part of this. I didn't pay all this money and live down here to do this. So yeah.
Right.
And probably a great example of too much too soon for a young man, right? I mean, he was at the top of the world, at the top of the, at the top of the heap with all that exposure as a young man that probably just didn't have the right wherewithal and personality to be able to handle everything that that kind of came at him at one time. Because I mean there was a lot of guys my during that whole craze, that whole thing, the one the one that I liked the most was the Velux. Do you remember that one?
Velux. I'm trying to think. I don't think
so. It was the guy that built it took a V-Rod and made it into a chopper during the biker build-off time.
Oh man, what was that guy's name? He did a lot of. He was the one that did a lot of stuff with the V-Rod platform.
Yep. Yeah.
And stuff like that. Man.
Yeah, he was very Matt Hotch.
Yeah.
I do remember that name.
Yeah, he had Hot Match Customs. Yeah,
Hot Match Customs, and his that Velux sold. It was the most expensive bike on Biker Build Off. It sold for like $225,000.
Jesus.
Yeah,
and that was kind of that was the peak, and it was just really cool because there was a lot of he did a lot of modern shit with it, right? And but I mean, you had guys like Shinya who did like everything hand built, during that time. I mean, he like hand hammered and made every single part was handmade on the bike. I mean, it was just a really cool time to see all that stuff. And so I think that's it's interesting, and it's funny that you mentioned the big wheel baggers, because I think that there's probably a lot of people, because like motorcycle riders, they became not rideable bikes. So you know what I mean?
Yeah, that was all it was. Roll up at bike night. Like I've seen guys around here that have stereos on them. They bring them on a trailer, roll them off a trailer, and then roll it in the bike night. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, that's not even. I have a customer of mine and it still has one, but his is decked to the nines. It rides great. He's got the American suspension front end. He's got a Thunder Max on it. He's like, it handles fine. It's got a 26-inch front wheel, but I'm like, he's like, well, I'm going to sell it. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, how much you want for it? He's like 30. I'm like, never going to happen, dude. I'm sorry. I go, if you had the stock pieces, we could put the stock front end back on it. You might sell it for that. But I go, what you have right now, I go, unless you find somebody specifically that wants it, it's not there, you know? It's like,
Yeah.
it's the market is just really weird. I had a customer in here the other day that he has a 1995 Heritage Softail with a sidecar on it, and his dog used to ride with him. And
Nice.
I was like, man, he's like, oh man, my dog passed away, so I'm just gonna get rid of it, you know. And I'm like, well, how much do you want for it? And he's like, 12,000. I go, hey man, I'm like, I get it, dude. I'm like, I understand you have emotional attachment to it, but I go, this stuff you guys are trying to sell is like a niche in the industry. Like, you know, it's gonna be hard,
Yeah.
you know. And then, you know, he's an older guy and he's getting out of riding, so he's like, Chris, can you bring it back up to me? Well, of course, I'm riding this thing up 270, you know, hanging on for dear life. Because riding on a sidecar is not the funnest thing in the world, because when you turn right, the sidecar wants to come up. So I'm like, dude, like I'm just hanging on. I'm like, okay. I had to ride it all the way up to 70 and 270. I'm like, oh God. Yeah, it was, but yeah, some of that stuff is just wild, you know. It's really
Well, I've heard of guys buying the some of the choppers from that era, and basically yanking the S&S motor out of them and just throwing the whole rest of the bike in the trash.
Yep.
You know, they're buying them for pennies on the dollar because it's got a great motor in it that's probably barely been ridden at all. It's probably got a S&S motor and a Baker transmission because it all has names. Everything had a name on it, right?
Yep.
But you know, that's the only thing worth money. They throw the whole rest of the bike in the garbage, frame and wheels and everything else, and they use the S&S motor and the Baker transmission in a custom build. You know, and they pay $1,800 for it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that was the problem.
because nobody wants them.
Yeah, that was the problem. Like when Big Dog and all those, they started doing their own proprietary like wiring and stuff. So they had like their own proprietary electrical things. Well, when they went bad and Big Dog would know wrong, you couldn't do anything. The bike's dead in the water. It just sits there because it doesn't either go back in or rewire the entire bike, or like you said, just buy the bike, yank the motor and the transmission out, and see you later. The rest
throw the rest of it.
Yeah.
Throw the rest of it away. Yeah. Because even the wheels, even those kind of wheels no one's putting them on bikes now, right? So they're not popular. So
no.
Yeah. Well, Chris, why don't you tell everybody out there in podcast world where they can find you, your shop, your socials, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So like everybody said, I'm here in St. Louis. So socials is at City Morgue Cycles on Instagram, Facebook, all that. I don't do TikTok. I don't do
MySpace.
MySpace. I heard that. Man, that's like
really, it's coming back. I don't know.
There'll be more social media stuff coming out. My sister's actually going to probably start a YouTube channel for me. Apparently, that's what she was talking about the other day. So we may have some more of that of my beautiful mug. So I don't know. She's like, you just teach people things. I'm like, well, that's cool, but I'm like, we'll see. I don't know. It's a lot of me talking, and I feel really stupid when I talk sometimes because I just, I'm running through my head all the time. But it's
do it. Don't get in your head, man. Just do it. Just be yourself, because that the more I'm here to tell you, the more authentic you are, the better it's going to be for you. And just be you. Yeah. You will do it. It'll do fine.
Yeah. So that's about it. I do everything by appointment. So, it's I'm a one-man band. I do. When you call the shop, you talk to me. When you come pick up your bike, you talk to me. You may talk to my son. You may have to pay him in Cheez-Its. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
And you'll get educated on Godzilla.
So. You will learn about Godzilla. I think what you guys are doing is great, man. I promote the podcast as much as I can in the shop. I tell everybody to listen. Try to get you guys some more Patreon money. I told people either you pay the Patreon or I break your kneecaps. So it's either or.
Do you want your bike back? Yeah. Join Patreon.
Yeah. No, I want to watch you do it. Do it now.
You join Patreon or your bill's $500 more. Yeah, whatever you want to do. Your choice. Yeah. Your choice.
But I appreciate you guys having me on. It's been awesome. So definitely.
Well, no, I appreciate. I didn't know City Morgue Cycles until 2-3 years ago when you were on Jace's podcast, And Mia's like, great, someone else local that I can visit and take bike to. And I will, my testimonial is Chris has worked on all three of both my FXRs, my Street Glide, from oil changes, fluid changes, handlebars, suspension, you name it. And I've never had a second thought of what he's told me that needs to be done, or question pricing or anything. And what I appreciate is you've taken the time to explain things to me because I'm still learning.
Mhm.
So it's like, okay, I need that. Why? Or,
Yeah.
okay, if I need this, then why this? How do those mesh together? Whatever it is. And so I appreciate your patience in explaining things to me. I appreciate your friendship, and I appreciate everything you've done to support the podcast and push people out there. Even the dog's excited about it.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
so thank you, Chris. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Appreciate you being on the show. It's been a lot of fun.
And if you have some more news to share, we'll bring you back on and promote all the other good things that you have going on, because like Luke said, I always use the barometer, which is when I have a relationship with somebody that I've made over social media, internet, whatever, but like Luke said, I would consider you a friend too.
Mhm.
We have talked on many occasions online. We've broken bread. We've had dinner together. All the things. I gently caressed his hand at dinner time. So
It was really nice. It was really good.
yeah.
You sure that was his hand?
I've made it. I've made it as weird and uncomfortable as I can, and he didn't tell me to stop. So I think we're friends.
Yeah.
But
Don't
everybody
flinch.
else at the table told you to stop. So, well, guys, thanks for tuning in. Another episode of Moto State. Our socials, you already know, Moto State Podcast on all the socials. We mentioned Patreon if you'd like to support us even further. And as always, thanks to Tab Performance and Law Tigers Tennessee for showing us love and supporting us in the podcast. So until next Monday, everybody have a great week. We'll see you.
Peace.
There's